All right, today we're jumping into the incredible Quranic story of the people of Thamud. We're talking about a civilization with power like you wouldn't believe, and the divine test that would ultimately seal their fate. It's a story about blessings, about arrogance, and about a message that was carved not just in stone, but in history itself.
Okay, I want you to just picture this for a second. It's dawn, in a quiet valley, and all of a sudden, a huge rock formation begins to shake and crack wide open. Light and dust just explode out of it, and from inside the mountain walks this majestic she-camel, something no one has ever seen before. This is the miracle right at the heart of our story. But, to really get why this was such a huge deal, we need to understand the people who saw it happen. So let's back up a bit. Who exactly were the people of Thamud? Where did they come from, and how in the world did they become these absolute masters of the mountains?
Well, their story actually kicks off right where another one ends. After the people of Ad were destroyed because of their pride, a small group of believers, the ones who listened to their prophet, were saved. So they leave their ruined home and travel for a long time, searching for a fresh start. They finally find this beautiful, fertile land, Alula, and settle down. Fast forward a few generations, and their descendants flourish, eventually moving into the valley of Al-Hijr, which we know today as Mada'in Saleh. And just like that, the age of the Thamud had begun.
And wow, were they blessed. These people were given everything. They had incredible physical strength, brilliant minds, and this amazing artistic talent. Their land was green and lush, with gardens and springs everywhere. All this prosperity led to massive wealth and trade. But their most legendary gift, the one they were famous for, was their almost supernatural ability to work with stone.
These guys were absolute geniuses with engineering. They weren't just building houses, they were creating masterpieces. Out on the flatlands, they built these huge, grand palaces. But what was even more mind-blowing is that they carved entire homes, halls, and tombs right into the solid rock of the mountains. Just try to wrap your head around that. Perfectly straight walls and massive columns, all carved out of a cliff face. These are things that still leave us speechless today.
But you know how these stories often go. With all those blessings, something really dangerous started to creep in: arrogance. They'd look at their amazing cities and all their wealth, and they started to believe they were the only reason for their success. They completely forgot about the one who gave them these gifts in the first place, and they started thinking, we did all this, we are the greatest. And that pride led them to carve idols out of the very same mountains they lived in, turning from gratitude to worshiping themselves.
So into this world of incredible power, but one that was getting darker with pride, a messenger arrived. And he didn't come with an army or a weapon, but with a simple and very challenging message that would force them to make a choice.
And this messenger was actually one of their own, a man from a noble family named Saleh. Now, he was already known everywhere for his wisdom and his good character. People really respected him, even before he was a prophet. He saw the dangerous path his people were on, and he just knew it would lead to disaster.
And this is where you really see the clash, right? Prophet Saleh's message was so simple. Hey, worship the one God who gave you all of this. Be grateful, not arrogant. But the leaders, the powerful ones, they pushed back. They were basically saying, Saleh, we used to think you were wise, but now you're telling us to ditch the traditions of our ancestors? No way. We need proof. If you're for real, show us a miracle we can't deny.
So they did it. They threw down the gauntlet. They pointed to a specific, solid rock and demanded the impossible. They had no idea, absolutely no idea, that their challenge was about to be met in the most spectacular way, kicking off a divine test that would change everything.
So Prophet Saleh prayed to God to answer them. And then it happened. While the leaders are watching, probably scoffing, the very rock they pointed to starts to shake and split apart. And out walks this incredible she-camel. This wasn't just any animal. The Quran calls her Naqatullah, the she-camel of God. She was the sign, a living, breathing miracle, exactly what they asked for.
But this miracle wasn't just a free show. It came with a test of their patience and obedience. And the rules were really simple. One day, the she-camel gets to drink from the town well, all of it. The next day, the well belongs to the people. But here's the amazing part, the divine trade-off. On the day the camel drank, she produced so much milk it was enough for every single person and every animal in the entire city. It was a perfect, balanced system. And for a little while, it seemed to be working. Some people were starting to believe. But the leaders? Oh, they couldn't stand it. Their pride was just shattered. This camel was a constant living reminder that Saleh was right
and that there was a power greater than them. They saw his influence growing and their own power shrinking, so they started whispering, "This animal is a threat. It must be destroyed." That resentment, that arrogance, it just kept building and building until it exploded into one final defiant act, a crime that would start a countdown that nobody could stop.
So a group of them, cheered on by the elites, set an ambush. As the she-camel was coming back from the well, they attacked. They shot her with an arrow, and as the great animal fell, they moved in and killed her. They killed God's sacred sign. And the people actually cheered, thinking they'd won back their power. They had no idea what they had just unleashed.
When Prophet Saleh saw what they'd done, you can just imagine the heartbreak. With tears in his eyes, he delivered their sentence. He didn't yell, he didn't threaten, he just spoke with this terrifying calm. Enjoy what you have in your homes for 3 more days. This is a promise from God, and it will not be broken.
And the terrifying part? The punishment didn't come all at once. It was a slow, creeping horror. On day 1, this wave of fear hits the city and everyone's faces turn a sick, pale yellow. On day 2, the dread gets worse and their faces turn red. By the 3rd day, a real darkness had fallen. Their faces turned black and the whole valley started to fill with the smell of death. They knew. They knew their time was up.
And then, just before dawn on the 4th day, the prophecy came true. The end didn't come as a flood or a fire or an earthquake. It was something else entirely. Something far more terrifying.
It was a sound, a single, horrifying blast from the heavens that ripped through the valley. A sound so powerful it was said to tear hearts from chests. The very mountains they had trusted in, the ones they had carved, trembled before it.
And in that one single instant, it was all over. Every living soul in the city of Thamud was gone. And those magnificent homes, those symbols of their power and permanence they carved into the mountainsides, they became their tombs. All that genius, all that engineering offered them zero protection. The city of stone fell completely silent.
After it was all over, Prophet Saleh looked out over the silent, ruined city. And he didn't celebrate. He was heartbroken. He said, "Oh, my people, I gave you the message from my Lord. I gave you sincere advice, but you just don't like people who give sincere advice." The choice, in the end, had always been theirs. They were warned, but they chose arrogance instead.
And that really leaves us with one last big thought. The stone cities of Mada'in Saleh are still standing today, a silent witness to this story. And they seem to ask a question that echoes through time. What's the real foundation of a civilization? Is it the mighty buildings you can see, or is it the moral beliefs you can't?